Yo, what's going on, people? You know this is AWOL. You know, it's the Diary of Awol. Second installment. Thank you for the positive feedback that I got from the first one. Really appreciate it. Today I want to talk about like family things, and this is going to be a message out to parents, but about youth. If you get what I mean. There may be some other messages in there, but we'll see how this goes on. By the way, this isn't scripted or nothing. This is just straight, boom, to the camera, right? The main point that I want to that I want to focus on today is parents, right? And by the way, I'm just going to do this from my sort of background. This can be in any sort of home, right? Don't matter your race, ethnicity, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? The point is, this is what I'm trying to make, right? This is from my background, right? And I don't know if any other ethnicity or race gets this sort of problem, but if your son or daughter, right, likes someone or loves someone, really wants to be with them. Now, as a parent, I know that you love your child, right? You love them so much. You want them to be happy. That's great. You want them to be happy, and you'll do the best you can to keep them out of wrong, keep them out of trouble, and try and give them a better life. That's great. No problem with that. But the problem that I have is if you're from an Asian background. This is an example, by the way. You're from an Asian background, and your son meets a white girl, or your daughter meets a black man, or whatever his race, but meets a race that's not you, or meets an ethnicity that's not you, that's not the same as you, right? You're quickly against it. You're like, no, they can't go out, they can't get married, blah 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 blah. What will people think of us? What will our family reputation be? Why are you so fussed about your reputation in a community, right? If you're in a community where your family is judged by their presentation, judged by what they do, then you're in the wrong community, right? You shouldn't judge people, right? And this is the one thing I don't get as well, is that these people, right, they complain about the BNP and the EDL. Don't get me wrong, right? They're bad people, right? They're bad people in the sense that, they want Britain white, whatever. They want everyone out. They want to keep it all white and whatever. Don't get me started with them. But this is the point that I want to make right now, is that these are the people that say, oh, the BNP's a bunch of racists, the BNP's a bunch of racists, EDL's a racist, they're all a bunch of racists, blah, 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 right? Now, don't get me wrong, but if you're saying your son or daughter can't see this guy or girl because they're not the same as you, i.e. they're black, they're white, they're Chinese, they're Indian, they're Pakistani, whatever they are, right? They're different to you, right? Now, doesn't that mean you're just as bad as BNP? Because you're still being racist, not on the same level as, actually yes, on the same level, because racism is racism whether you like it or not. And it's just stupid, man. If your daughter or son loves someone that much, they want to be with them, and if they make your child happy, be happy for them. Fuck what the community says. Fuck if they're going to look at you wrong, right? At the end of the day, you can walk down that road with your head held high, knowing that, you know what? My son, my daughter is happy with that person. I don't have to take them back home and get them married off to, I don't know, my cousin or my uncle's brothers, sisters, husbands, friends, sons, husbands, brothers, sisters, friends, dogs, brothers, friends, sisters, brothers, sons, husbands, niece, right? They don't need that. They don't need that, right? Because they don't want that. And then you get so shocked and so upset when this is the Asian part now, right? And again, I don't know if you have this in any other community, right? But it's usually with the women. This is usually with women now, right? This is usually with the girls, right? They'll run away to go and be with their partner because they love them that much, and they'll go against their family. Instead, the family should say, you know what, right? You love this person so much, right? Then we'll sit them down, we'll talk to them, and then we'll go about it in an adult manner. Not, you're not gonna see them, right? And if you do, then this will happen, right? I understand how it's like in Asian communities, right? And I get that, right? Because you're very protective over your children, right? And you may be more like, into your own culture, and in that culture it's like, well, if you go out with their daughter, then you're basically cruising for a bruising, right? But if this guy comes to your house and says, you know what, whatever, you know, I really love your daughter, or what, you know, I really love your daughter, I really care about her, and I want to be, you know, I want to ask for a hand in marriage. Now, you've got to give that guy respect to coming to your door and saying, you know what, okay, fair enough, he came to my door, right? Then you should at least chat with him, get to know what he's about, you know, because you can only judge someone just from the way they look, right? I mean, any guy, right? Any guy or girl, they could have like a screw face on, or they could be a screw face, be the angry face, by the way, for if any adults are watching this, right? You know, they could be like have one of these mean sort of faces, right? But they could be the softest, kind-hearted person in the world. You don't know how they treat your child, you know, when they're out, sort of thing. You don't know how they treat your son. You don't know how they treat your daughter. Blah blah blah. Right? If it's son or daughter, whatever, they could have like the meanest looking face. But when they're with their partner, right, that they care about so much, that face will be different. That face will be different. They'll be smiling. They'll be happy because they're in love. And I don't get why adults can't accept that. They think that it's going to damage their reputation in the community, right? The Muslim community is messed up because that's what they care about. Our family name's going to be put to shame if you get with this person. Go be with so-and-so, 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 right? We're going to get you married off to them. Now, someone needs to explain this to me, right? I mean, I'm Asian myself, right? But even I can't get this. Why is it you're respected if you force your daughter or force your son to get married to someone who they don't want to be with, right? Who they don't love, they don't really care about, which will eventually cause arguments, right? And problems between you and that family. Then, you know, that doesn't get you looked at differently in the community, but letting them go out with someone of a different race or a different ethnicity does. But they love them. Why can't you hold your head high, swallow a bit of pride, grow some balls, right? And if anyone says anything, oh, your daughter married a white man, or your son married a black girl, so what? You know what I'm saying? Deal with it. You get me? If your son or your daughter likes this type of person, right? They make them happy. They can care about them. They care for them. They can provide for them. They put a roof over their head, clothes on their back, shoes on their feet, right? Food in their stomach, everything, right? If they can provide, you know, the needs the needs for that woman or for their man, if they can provide that needs, well, usually the man has to provide because that's the way it is really. Well, even that's a stereotype. Anyway, women can provide as well. Women are just as good as providers as men are, right? But if they can do all that, then what reason do you have not to let them be with your child? Just because they were different, race or ethnicity. Sorry, that shouldn't work. That shouldn't be the situation, right? Now, parents, if you're watching this and you're saying, oh, see, if you're watching this and saying that I don't have no respect, right? Well, this is what I'm gonna say to you, right? You need to start listening to your children, and talk to your child. If they And you know what age is suitable, by the way, to have a girlfriend or boyfriend. If they're like 12 years old and they're saying they got a boyfriend, they got a girlfriend, right? Okay, pay a little attention to it because in this day and age, you know, underage sex is becoming more on an increase. So just keep it ear to the ground and just find out what's going on. But talk to them on a level. That's the thing that children need. That's the thing that youth need. Being talked to on a level, not being talked down at. You know what I'm saying? We're still people too at the end of the day, right? We just haven't been through a lot of life to gain enough wisdom. That's all it is. We just haven't got enough wisdom, right? But if they're at that age where they can make that decision that they want to be with this person for the rest of their life and they care about them, they love them, then why can't you sit down and talk to them, both of them, right? And say, okay, how are you going to take care of my daughter, or how are you going to take care of my son, right? And just talk to them, and maybe you might find out that this guy or this girl isn't as bad as you think. And then in one way or another, you're breaking down a barrier. And hopefully, if this video gets watched more and more, maybe the community might realise that, you know what, maybe we are going on, we are going this about the wrong way. Alright, maybe they don't have the same beliefs as you, right? And I know there's like this, you know, there's stuff that they say in the Quran where it says that, this again Asian community now by the way, where, you know, if they're not a Muslim or they're not a believer, basically, because I know they say that, by the way, if you know any better than this, please correct me, but this is how I understand it. If they're Jewish, Muslim, or they're Christian, then it's okay. But if they're Hindu or Sikh, then I don't think it is. But again, you'll have to correct me, but that is what I understand it as, right? But even that, if they're, you know, even if they're an atheist, right? Why can't you be with them? That's what I don't get. You know, why is it so? Why is it such a problem for for the family to accept? You know, if they don't believe in God, right? Then let that be up to them. It shouldn't affect how they love their partner just because they may not believe in God, or they may not have the same beliefs as you, or they don't be the same race as you, or they might look a bit different to you. You know, so what? Or maybe they don't earn a whole heap of money, right? Maybe they're not like billionaires, right? Maybe they ain't got a well-off family, right? Maybe it's just a guy with a bus pass, right? Who's on job seekers or on benefits, right? And okay, I guarantee, right? I guarantee, if he loves his wife, or if he loves his partner, or if he loves whoever, their son, their daughter, right? If he loves them that much, if she loves them that much, right? They will get up off their arse, they will get a job, and they will support them. They won't sit there, carry on being on benefits, and letting the world go by. If their partner's saying, you know what, you need to get a job, you know, you need to sort yourself out, you know, because the partner won't take it. Then the partner will be like, you know what, you're sitting on your ass, you're not doing nothing with your life, you're just, you know, gonna let the world go by. I'm gonna be working while you're sitting on your ass. Sorry, I'm better than that. And then the person will realise, you know what, either I can, now the person who's sitting on their ass will have two choices. Either they can carry on and lose the love of their life, or they can do something about it. That's it, really, to be honest. Just that elders, parents, whoever, right? Pay attention to your children, listen to them, right? Because at the end of the day, when you give them all this about, you know, we don't want to be with that person, we don't want to, you know, blah, 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 it stresses them out because they must really love that person, right? And it stresses them out because it just does, it stresses them out. And it may even drive them to run away, it might put them into other mental health conditions, I don't know. It could do anything. It could do anything. Never know, they might say, you're not going to be with them. They'll say, okay, and that's that. That's the way it might be. But there may be something there that, okay, it's affecting their child. And they'll just expect their child to get on, get over it, and, you know, carry on. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. At the end of the day, children are people too. Talk to them. Say, you know what? Okay, you really love this guy, or you really love this girl. You know, let's meet him. Well, let's meet her. And that's it. That's all it is, really. Just don't jump the gun. Don't jump the gun and don't judge people just because they look a certain way or they may even dress a certain way, right? Don't get me wrong. I've been judged a certain way by a few people, right? I've been judged a certain way for the way I dress, for the way I look, and when I spoke to people and they've learned a little bit about me, they know I'm nothing how I look. Now, these are quotes from people who I've met, right, and who are close friends now. But they said to me, right, on first appearance, I look like I'm going to kill someone. Now, you can look at me through this video and know that that ain't me, right? You may have seen me walking around town, right, or walking around anywhere, right? You know, I might look all screw-faced and, you know, I'm gonna kill someone, But trust me, if you came and talked to me, right, then you would know that that's not me, you know. And that's the thing. People need people need to stop judging people just for the way they look. Sit down, talk to the person, and you never know, you might find out something interesting. Right? That's all I'm gonna say on the matter, because I think this video is probably gonna be like extremely long. Yeah, just let me know what you think, people. And hopefully I'm gonna carry on with this, you know, part 3 hopefully coming soon, inshallah, God willing. But yeah, that's it, people. You know, and just be strong. If you're with someone, this going out to youth now, if you're with someone, right, and you really, really care about them, you really, really love them, don't let them go. You might go through shit with family, whatever, but try to make that family, try to make your own family, right, understand that you really love that person and they're the right one for you. Alright, that's it. That's me done. Diary of Awol, part 2, finished. Peace, people. Remember, everything's all about positivity, you understand? Keep it positive in your world, yeah? We're done.